Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Peyton. You can call me PK, and I react to music day. Fuck, this is like I hate this fucking boom arm. Today we are reacting to a moon-shaped pool, Radiohead. Sad to say, this is the last Radiohead reaction that I will be doing on this channel. Uh, I'll still check out the rest of their albums probably at some point on my own. I wanted to finish off with this album, their last, or I guess most recent album, as I have explored their big points within their discography. I'm excited for this. I've heard a bunch of different things about it. I've seen somebody say that this is kind of like in Rainbows. I've seen someone say this is a great way to end off their career and their discography. I mean, I've just heard a bunch of different things about it. I haven't heard people really say whether it's good or bad. So I guess we'll see. Uh, New stuff. You could probably obviously tell I'm not in the same setup as I usually am. I moved, and this is where we are now. We're in a different setup now. So it'll be like this for the foreseeable future. Um, if y'all have any suggestions on artists or albums or anything that I can react to, let me know. I'm still kind of trying to find new stuff to react to because, quite frankly, there's not a whole lot of new music that's coming out right now that I like want to listen to. So, if you do want to see me do these live periodically, you can check me out on Twitch at twitch.tv/pkreacts112. If you want to see the full, uncut, unedited version of this album reaction, you can check me out on Patreon at pkreacts or at the link in the description. Off real quick. Cheers. Okay, we'll get into track number one, Burn the Witch.
Crosses on wooden doors. If you flow, you burn. Loose talk around tables.
Strings.
Abandon all reason.
Um, I really liked the. I couldn't tell if it was just like kind of plucking the strings on maybe like a violin or cello, whatever, any of the strings. Um, or if it was like kind of like a palm muted guitar, because it kind of gives that effect, which I'm gonna demonstrate because I can. When you put your palm about right here and you play, you can still get the different notes that come out while it's still being kind of muted. Because normally if you mute, like say the full string, it sounds like that. Not really a whole lot, so you kind of, it's a certain technique where it's only muted to a certain extent. And what it sounds like kind of is, but also kind of sounds like string. being plugged at the same, like, just regular, like, violin or something of that sort, kind of just being plucked. I mean, I'm not really a not really a music expert, but I feel like my music knowledge is there a little bit, maybe. But good opening track. I was just listening to call it, just listening to OK Computer before this, just to kind of set the mood. I guess I always do that before these reactions. Is I go and listen to an album from whichever artist that I'm listening to for the day. So I was just listening to OK Computer, and this kind of reminds me of I don't know. I don't want to be wrong in saying this because people might flame me for this, but it kind of gives me the vibes of like Subterranean Homesick Alien, which that song's been stuck in my head all day, so maybe that's why I'm saying it. But it was a good intro track. It's a really good intro track. I don't know what the fuck it's about. To be honest with you, I really don't. Burn the Witch can mean a lot of things. I mean, well, not a lot of things, but it can refer to a lot of different, I guess, groups of people. I mean, this was 2016, so I don't really know much about UK politics or I guess their world. So I guess I don't really know exactly what he could be referring to if that's what it's about. If anybody knows, let me know. But yeah, great opening track though. I really enjoyed it. Okay, now we'll head into track number 2, Daydreaming. This reminds me, oh, this sounds so familiar. Reminds me of something off of Kid A. The sounds do. The more electronic sounds.
Dreamers, they never learn. They never learn. Beyond the point.
Okay, I mean, I'm not. I know I'm not tripping, but I'm not tripping, right? Like those are the same sounds from the intro on Kid A. What was the fucking song called? I don't know. The intro of Kid A. The song, the first sounds like in the song, plus the kind of the, I guess the kind of vocals or kind of vocal clips that are coming in that are like kind of chopped up and everything like that. They're from the intro. Like I'm not tripping, right?
This goes beyond me, beyond
Holy shit. Oh, that's this video. Oh, I've seen that video for this. Not like seen it, but I've seen clips from it. I've seen clips of this video. Okay, I was kind of confused on what the song was about, which It's pretty normal for me when it comes to Radiohead a little bit. It does kind of sound like a little bit of a like I guess before I read the annotations, it's kind of like words that are said when you're either mourning or kind of I guess post something like post traumatic something, right? Breakup, maybe a divorce, maybe again, like I said, loss. Um, maybe something bad happened in your life and you're kind of, it like just happens, usually when the wound is kind of fresh. And that's kind of what I was thinking. And then he said, we're just happy to serve you. And then I was thinking, okay, that's referring to God. And then I read the annotations and it said that at this point in time, well, not at this point in time, but not too long before this album was released, like 6 months, maybe 7 months, he had gotten a divorce with his wife. And that's why, this is half of my life. That's why the whole outro is half of my life, because they had been together for half of his life. It kind of makes sense now as to why like the track is kind of the way it is, and it was beautiful. Um, it kind of at first what I was thinking too when I was hearing all those the sounds and different things that kind of sounded like they were from Kid A was he was kind of talking about how his career, his music career and everything like that has it kind of took a toll on him. And the lyric streamers, they never learn, until they're beyond the point of no return. Then it's too late. And so kind of thinking back as to when they were dreamers and wanting to be big, and next thing you know, everything happened and they were massive. So that's what I was thinking at first when I was hearing those sounds, because it sounded like, okay, like he's referring back to one of the albums that made them massive. But now I can see how it relates to a divorce and everything of that sort. But um, I really loved it. Just really loved it. It was a good ballad, good piano ballad. Here's what I'll say. I'm gonna put this in the YouTube video. I'm not. I haven't been taking this quite literally, like nearly as seriously as I was when I first started, and that's hence the lack of videos. And I'll still post, as often as I can. This is kind of something I do for fun in my free time, and quite frankly, right now is not really too much of free time. I mean, I took a nap, have energy. I don't, you know, I already did my school shit for the day, so I'm like, let's get on here, get something done. Yeah, I'll post about as often as I want to. The longest I'll probably go without a video is probably around 2 weeks. I'll try to get something in about at least every 2 weeks, or at least every other week, I guess is a better way to put it. As the fall kind of rolls in here, it's gonna get a bit more hectic. Not as much happening. If you really want to check out my stuff, because editing's gonna be a pain in the ass, right? And it's probably gonna take me a little bit to get shit edited. Check me out on Twitch. Come to my Twitch streams. I will plan on streaming all of these new album reactions on Twitch if you really want to watch. And if not, you can check out the Patreon too. Again, uh, I literally take my VOD straight from Twitch and upload it on Patreon right after my streams. So if you want to watch it there, you can do that. Um, I'm trying, I'm trying my hardest to get stuff out, but at the same time, it's not really something that's super important to me right now. So it's kind of doing it as I can. But I mean, again, I'm still here, so it's not that I'm not interested. It's just I am busy. We'll get into track number 3, Dex Dark.
And in your life there comes the darkness. There's a spacecraft blocking out the sky, and there's no way in a world darkest hour.
pause real quick. Lyrically, this is reminding me of Subterranean Homesick Alien. I've already said that once. Um, it is. It just is. Um, with him saying that, we're helpless to resist, ragdoll cloth people, and there's nowhere to hide. It kind of reminds me of Subterranean Homesick Alien when he talks about how, the people on Earth, struggle with all these things and they do all these things to their body and all this stuff, and everybody's helpless in that sense. It kind of just gives me the vibes of that. What I am gonna say is, so far, this album has been like a mix of their big three albums. It feels like a mix of Kid A, OK Computer, and Rainbows. I don't know if I'm wrong to say that, but it really feels like it. Again, lyrically, it kind of feels like he's talking about, you know, spacecraft blocking out the sky, kind of talking like about depression and how there's nowhere to hide because it's always going to be with you. I've talked about this before. I don't remember which reaction it was. I talked about how, depression is always going to be with you, and those thoughts are always going to be with you, and you can't really escape them. And it kind of feels like that's what we're talking about here. And, in a way, it can be, kind of the loudest sound you've ever heard, but in a way, um, the voices and kind of the way your thoughts roll when you're in kind of when you're in the headspace you get into whenever you're depressed, can be the loudest sounds and the loudest things you've ever heard, and they surround you and everything of that sort. So I feel like that's what we're talking about here. I never know if I'm right. I always feel like, the way I view music is that it's always up for interpretation. It's always the way you want to see it, always the way you need to see it. So maybe that's the way I need to see it.
Turn head, made of wet sand. This dread's to cover us. You gotta be kidding me. The grass grows over me. Your face in the glass, There was just a laugh, just a laugh. It's whatever you said it is. It's the loudest sound you've ever heard. In your darkest
This album, first off, I was smiling during that because going from the Bends to this, which is crazy. It's just weird because I kind of forgot this that Radiohead does this. I forgot they kind of throw in these sounds everywhere, and forgot how much I enjoy it. This album might be Radiohead's Ghost Stories in the sense of, this is something I learned, and I didn't know this while listening to Ghost Stories. Chris was going through I guess, breakup at the time, and that's why the album sounded the way it did. And that's the way the lyrics were the way they were and everything of that sort. And I have a feeling this album might be kind of towards the same thing in the sense of heartbreak, in the sense of darkness. Getting to track number 4, Desert Island Disc. just a little, I guess you could say short, little acoustic track. They're kind of saying, and I kind of was pretty. Be honest with you, I kind of zoned out a little bit because I was pretty immersed in the guitar and his vocals. So, but I was kind of like looking at the lyrics for a minute, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna try right now. But it does seem like he's kind of talking about rebirth in the sense of not like actual rebirth, but like maybe in a way of he feels like this is his new life and this is his new way of living after the divorce or after the breakup. It feels like he's trying to kind of still learn how to live and find his way in the world and trying to navigate everything after the breakup. And that's kind of what I kind of feel he means by the lyrics. Again, I was kind of lost, and at that point, I was kind of just like, fuck it, because I was pretty immersed in everything else. I'm really enjoying the sound of this album so far. I know it was a chill little. I'm not gonna say interlude because I think I say interlude too much, but it was a chill short track before what seems like we're getting into a longer track. So we'll get into track number 5. Full single L stop. Kind of. I mean, he's just telling her that like my life is so fucked up now, and you're a terrible person, and you did all this shit to me. Why would you do it? And it kind of feels a little bit like that with the guitars, with the drums, kind of being they're really driving, and it does say that in the little blurb up there, but I was gonna kind of say that anyways. It feels very driving with the drums being the way they are and the bass kind of being the way it is. Um, it really portrays the feeling of anger, resentment. You know, it kind of continues the theme of, like I said, this is kind of like Radiohead's Ghost Stories a little bit, where this is kind of, I mean, it's kind of a breakup album. You know, it's kind of a breakup album. Like this happened to me, and I've said this before too, and I'll say it again. Hard times makes some of the best music you will ever hear, and it's true. I mean, why do you think OK Computer was so good? Why do you think Kid A was good? Why do you think In Rainbows was good? Looking on the Coldplay side, why do you think Rush of Blood at the Head was good? Why do you think Ghost Stories was good? Looking on 21 Pilot side, why do you think Self Titled was so good? Why do you think Vessel was so good? There's one common denominator. Everybody was suffering. And it sucks. It sucks. It sucks that it has to be like that. And it sucks that's the way the world works and life works. Is that to have some of the best music, you have to struggle. And it's not true. It's not fully true, but it's there's some truth to it. Kind of giving me Weird Fishes vibes with the drums and the guitars here. Sorry, something I forgot to say. The way his vocals have been so far kind of also portrays that feeling of anger it portrays that emotion. You can't give me something that sounds like Weird Fishes and not be Weird Fishes, but it's so good. It's so fucking good for that reason. I, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. Really gave me the feeling of the anger and the resentment. The way everything, picked up, got louder, you know, the way everything just kind of came in, bashing, everything happening. It just portrays that feeling of anger so well. And I was smiling so fucking hard because it reminds me of Weird Fishes. And the thing is, you listen to Weird Fishes, and in itself, Weird Fishes is not really like particularly happy song, but it's never given off the feeling of anger. And I think it was really the drums that was giving it to me. And the drums in this track, it just gave a new meaning, kind of not to Weird Fishes, but kind of that vibe. If you get what I'm saying, the second half of Weird Fishes, it's giving me a new meaning to that vibe. Because I never, when you listen to it, you never think about it in anger, but now listening it this way, it's kind of more in anger. And something I was gonna say earlier is, I'm seeing what people mean when they say this is a perfect last album, in the sense that this is kind of a mesh between, again, their not their popular, well, I guess their popular albums. It's a mesh of all of their sounds they've ever had in one. A lot of times when artists do that, it means it's kind of like the end. It usually ends up being their best album, but also ends up being the end. I'm not saying this is their best album. I have no fucking clue. I'm only halfway through it at this point. Fucking love that song. Just be completely honest with you. I mean, it's one of my favorites. Um, Seeing what people mean by reminiscent of In Rainbows now. I was kind of seeing it before, but I was, again, also I'm seeing pieces and parts of OK Computer. I'm seeing pieces and parts of Kid A, and now I'm seeing pieces and parts of In Rainbows. I'm enjoying this very much. I'm enjoying this very much. I think I picked the right album to be the last one. Right, I think I picked the right album to be the last one. We'll see. We'll get into track number 6, Glass Eyes. Chills. Chills.
The ticket, panic is coming on strong, so call me inside out. No grid German message coming in on the oh so small, glassy eyed light of day, glassy eyed light of day. I don't know where it leads, and I don't really care. I feel this love.
Really feels like he's kind of continuing the theme of kind of the rebirth after a relationship, in the sense of like, now, like, this is, before he said, like, this is my new life, and I'm gonna take this head on, and like, I'm ready. And now it's kind of, he's at the part where he's kind of second guessing everything. He's second guessing whether or not this is really where he wants to be, or if he should go back. Or, I mean, well, I guess that's not really his choice at that point, but if he should keep chasing, or if he should really embrace this new life and everything of that sort. And this, again, this being their most recent album and possibly their last, it kind of, it feels like he's also maybe deciding whether or not he wants to keep doing music or not. If they want to be together still. And if they want to continue with everything they've done. They've had a lot of struggles in the past. I mean, there was a lot of tension during the OK Computer and Kid A era. Of course, there was a lot of stuff that happened and the repercussions and everything they felt from Creep whenever that got released, and that is specifically shown in the Bends. So maybe it's kind of the reflection of their career and whether or not if they should continue. But again, if we're really going with kind of the previous tracks and kind of the theme of the album so far, it kind of feels like he's more so talking about whether or not he should really move on from the relationship, or if he should, maybe try to pursue her again. And, him kind of saying that, he doesn't really care where the path leads. He doesn't really care where it's going to take him. Kind of means, it kind of insinuates that, maybe he doesn't want to move on, and he wants to take the path, that whatever path he has to take to get back to her. That's kind of how I interpreted it. Beautiful. It was very moving, very moving. Okay, we'll get into track number 7, Identikit. My bad.
Sweet-faced ones with nothing left inside, that we all can love, that we all can love, that we all, sweet-faced ones with nothing.
Okay, bro. Okay, bro. Okay, I already said that, like, yeah, it's kind of a compilation of their popular sounds, and then I hear a song that sounds like it should have been on In Rainbows, and then they start throwing in the fucking electronic stuff from Kid A, and like, shit. I was so immersed in that track, dude. It just tickles. It tickled everything I wanted to fucking tickle, dude. It tickled everything I wanted it to tickle. Right. Um, didn't really pay attention to the lyrics that much, to be honest with you. I was kind of just really immersed in that. It felt a bit more like in reach. Do you want to reach? Do we want to reach? Do we want to reach? We want to stretch really hard for a reach. Do we want to reach? We can reach. We could definitely reach. Let's stretch. Sorry. Just stretching really hard for a reach. We're gonna stretch really hard for a reach here. But something that kind of happens like post traumatic situation, I guess. So I guess in this case a breakup or a divorce after 23 years. Something that could happen is repetitive thoughts. And that's like a big thing too. Is you can repeatedly think the same thing over and over again. And I think that's kind of the reason why some of the verses are the way they are and the chorus is the way it is. And yeah, I don't really know. Man, that always happens, dude. Every time I try to, people talk shit to me and I try to talk shit back, no one answers. It's crazy. This feels a little bit like it could be used for like a movie or something. Um, like a show. Kind of feels like he's talking about how we're the only people that can, of course, of course, the population of the Earth, but we're the people that can get things changed to be better. I mean, that's just, I mean, it's the easiest way to do it. I mean, we're the only people that can do it, of course. You know, the world isn't just going to do it on its own. Things aren't just going to randomly change to be better. People have to do it. And then, kind of seems like towards the end, he's just kind of talking about the government a little bit and how, he said we'll take back what's ours, and in the sense of the people need to, kind of take back the government, not it just being a, someone that's ruling the land and kind of a dictatorship almost. It needs to be for the people, you know. Everything needs to be for the people, and especially because the people are the only, is the only way for the earth and the world to get better. You know, they should take back what's rightfully ours. But I what is it? Again, like I said, it kind of feels like a TV show, movie soundtrack song. Wouldn't be surprised if it has been. Okay, we'll get into track number 9, present tense. I wonder if they're using the lemon shaker for this one, dude.
Distance after friends against the present, against the present, the present tense. No one comes crashing down. I'll be dancing, freaking out, deaf, dumb, and blind.
So it kind of feels like the dance he's referring to is kind of like the train of thought he had on Glass Eyes, where his the dance of going back and forth of whether or not he is doing the right thing, if he's going down the right path, if he's making the right choices, is kind of feels like that's what he's talking about. And I mean, I guess it feels even more so like that when he says against the present. I enjoyed the vibe of that track. It was very I don't know how to explain it, but I really did enjoy the vibe of that track. Kind of felt like, I mean, it kind of felt like a little bit of, I don't know. I don't want to say a dance track, but like you get what I'm saying. Hard to get my thoughts on the lyrics. The instrumental, I really liked the drums, kind of the rhythm there. It kind of was a little, it kind of gave that driving kind of vibe. Almost, I guess is the best way to describe it. Yeah, no, enjoyed it though. Enjoyed it. Yeah, I honestly I have no fucking clue what he's talking about here. Um, I really tried to figure it out. I read the annotations. They didn't really tell me anything. Um, I think it really feels like it felt a bit more like a track off of Kid A, and I do know a lot of the lyrics on Kid A were a bit more of just abstract, kind of just there almost. I did kind of think of all the holes at once are coming alive set free. I did kind of think of that as kind of like wounds, mental wounds and stuff of that sort. But and then I just kind of got lost with everything else, and it didn't really make more sense than that. So, yeah, no. But other than that, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the orchestration near the end. I did read somewhere that Johnny used to write compositions. I don't know if that's right or not. Holy fuck, I don't have. I was on the wrong scene the whole fucking time. I heard somewhere that Johnny writes compositions, and I don't know if that's right or not. If it is, tell me. If it's not, tell me. But he does, then that's pretty cool, and he probably wrote that. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the orchestration near the end. It's kind of chill. It felt a bit more abstract, a bit more experimental, a little bit. And yeah, 1995. Try this again. Hey guys, this is me from the future. I'm so pissed off. I am so sorry. I don't know what the fuck happened because it's never been this bad, but for some reason this VOD decided to be this bad. I had a great reaction to this song. I talked about it in the middle. No, I didn't even talk about it in the middle of it. I waited to the end. Great reaction. It cut off the whole fucking thing. It only has I don't know how much left in there. I don't know. I'm so mad. I am so sorry. I'm gonna get it figured out. Yeah, this is fucking stupid. I mean, just the debate inside your head of whether or not you're doing the right thing after you know breakup. You know whether or not you're taking the right path, whether or not you're right and moving on. And then this is like the other side of it. When if when or not when, but if you decide what you're doing isn't right and you should try to go back. This is kind of what it is. You know, he's just doesn't want her to leave. I mean, they had been together for 23 years. And basically he's saying he'd do all these things, you know, he'd do all these things to try to get her back. You know, and how his life isn't really and it's not really him living his life. He's kind of just killing time. You know, he's finding things to do, hoping that she'd come back. Radiohead has this weird way of really making their last tracks very emotional and very touching. This one did it, right? It did it. Did it. You can really feel the emotion of kind of the longing. I mean, I guess the best way to put it is kind of longing for the best friend, right? Longing for the person that you had been with for all of those years and wanting them back. And it really, you really feel it. And something about Tom's voice that he does really well is, well, I mean, I don't know. Of course, he probably doesn't do it intentionally. It's just his voice. Is that he's able to portray and project emotion very well. And that combined with the piano really makes you feel what he feels, right? No matter what he's talking about. But it really makes in this track it really makes you feel the sadness and yeah, they always find a fucking way to leave me fucking like just no words. No words, man. Well, that was it. I'm in shape pool. Radiohead. What a great album. Tough times kind of breeds good music, unfortunately. And I hate that for people that have to suffer through these hard times. But unfortunately, it makes great music, and it definitely did here. Um, I saw now what people said about this being a good final album for them, and even the last song, "True Love Waits," actually ends up being a good final track if this ends up being their last album. It really kind of finished off the discography very well. It kind of included different aspects of their different albums, especially their most popular ones of OK Computer, Kid A, and Rainbows. It included a bunch of different aspects of those albums, and yeah, I mean, it was an amazing album. I'm glad this was the one that I'm ending off on. Favorite track, full stop. Uh, I don't think I've ever smiled as hard as I did while listening to it, as I ever have with the first listen for any track. So really enjoyed it. Yeah, they always find a way to leave me stunned on on a final track. They always do. They always do. Um, if you enjoyed this reaction, you can check me out on Twitch, at the link in the description, or at twitch.tv/PKReacts112. I go live periodically. It's gonna be a bit. I'm gonna be a bit more active for the next couple weeks because I'm not as busy. Um, if you want to check out the full uncut, unedited version of these album reactions, you can check me out on Patreon at the link in the description or at PK Reacts. If you want to help out a college student, I have two links in the description that you can check out. You do not have to buy anything, but a click and traffic to those pages does go a long way for me. I'm always glad to have you here. I'm glad to be here. But as always, stay safe, stay alive. Love you. Bye.